conservative new media viewers and J-Lin fans around the world. What's up? We're here to go over Houston's 107-105 loss tonight at the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix, Arizona. Whew. That's pretty much how I feel about this game. It's like look, before I get too down about this game, Utah lost tonight also. And again, if Utah keeps losing, Houston's going to make the playoffs. So even if the Lakers make it. Also, this was a back-to-back game on the road. So there are a couple things. I don't want to get too gloom and doom because I'm going to. So just before I start getting like that, I want to kind of add some little notes or caveats about doing that. Right now, Golden State is losing as well. They're in the fourth quarter. They're playing Milwaukee in Golden State, and they're down by like 3 points with, 5 minutes to go right now. It's not so much that Houston lost this game. That's big because Phoenix isn't good. They're not good at all. They're one of the worst teams in the league. It's how they lost the game. And a lot of it comes back to Jeremy. And I will talk about that. It does hurt because if Houston had won tonight and Golden State lost, Houston's number 6 in the Western Conference playoff standings. So that's really annoying. Now, I talked to you guys a lot about NBA and basketball terminology. Tonight's game against Phoenix, what is known as a trap game, T-R-A-P, like setting a trap. A trap game is a game that a team often overlooks. Like they'll think, oh, we're going to beat Phoenix easy. Phoenix isn't any good, and they're playing without their starting center, Marcin Gortat. So, yeah, we're going to beat them. And so you go in with that attitude, and you end up losing. And that's what a trap game is. It's a game that'll trap you because you think you're going to win easy, and you don't. And that's what this turned out to be for Houston. I'm not going to do comments in this video again. I'm still working on the comments video. I apologize. I said that would be done before this game, but I just wasn't able to do it, even though I spent a number of hours on it today. It's going to take longer, but I will keep working on it and get it up as soon as I can. We got to see Marcus Morris in this game. Of course, he was traded this season to the Phoenix Suns for, I think, a second-round draft pick or considerations. We also got to see Goran Dragic and Luis Scola, who were both playing with the Rockets last year. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, Phoenix is the last new opponent for Houston to play this season. And that's definitely a good thing. As I mentioned, Houston's seen everybody now. Jeremy's seen everybody now, and they've seen him. And that's good. There's nothing new. There's no more big surprises coming around the bend for Jeremy, and that's a good thing. When you start seeing guys for the second or third time, you start seeing their tendencies, and you just can get more comfortable about what you can do against them and what you need to do to defend them. Now, Jeremy had a big part in this loss. He did. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. And I'll go through that. He wasn't terrible tonight at all, but he was up and down, which is the sign of a young player. Any young player, almost any young player. There are very rare exceptions to that. Most young players are up and down. Jeremy was playing against Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic is the starting point guard for Phoenix. And Jeremy easily outplayed Dragic until about midway through the fourth quarter. And then Dragic took over and just put it on Jeremy, so to speak. He really whooped him. And that's what happened. Jeremy finished with 11 points, 1 rebound, and 4 assists. In 31 minutes of playing time, he shot 4 of 9 from the field, 1 of 5 from three-point range, was 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 steal, 0 blocks, 5 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. His plus-minus was -1, and his efficiency number was 7. Jeremy was particularly struggling in this game in the second quarter and the fourth quarter. So he was pretty good. He was very good in the first quarter, extremely good. Good in the third quarter. The second and fourth quarters were what did him in and helped to doom the team. Dragic finished up with 18 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and his efficiency number for the game was 15. But 13 of those units came in the fourth quarter. So in other words, he came into the fourth quarter with a 2 efficiency and ended up with a 15. So that just shows you what he did in the fourth quarter. He went crazy. And most of that came with Jeremy guarding him. I've said it before, I love Dragic. He is a very talented player. He's about Jeremy's same size, might be slightly taller. He's extremely athletic, and he just knows how to play the game. And I've always liked him. So he has ability, even though it didn't look like it for about 3.5 quarters. He showed it at the end. Now, you need to know, if you don't already know this, the haters are going to be out in full force. Because yesterday, after the Dallas game, we were all happy and celebrating that Mikhail played Jeremy in the fourth and they won. And then Mikhail learned his lesson. Well, tonight Jeremy played in the fourth and they lost. And his man helped Phoenix win. So the haters are going to be in full force tonight and for the next couple of days because the Rockets don't play until Wednesday. So you need to know that. You know, if you were out thumping your chest yesterday, you're going to have to, we say the haters fall into the darkness. Well, if you're a Jeremy Lin fan, you don't want to go into the darkness like the haters, but you might have to go low profile because the haters are going to be out going crazy. Now, they're ridiculous, of course, and they're wrong, but they're going to be out. Yeah, you see, he played. We lost. All this type of stuff. His man lit him up. All this. And that's the way it is. That's what you guys know I try to take a long-term perspective on things and not get too high and too low. That's one of the reasons why you do it. If you get out on the branch, a tree branch too far, it's going to snap under you. So you never want to get too ahead of the curve. Jeremy is a tremendous talent, and he's an excellent player. He's a very good player. He is absolutely at least an average level starting point guard in the NBA right now. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But he still has a lot to learn. And so if you go out there saying, Jeremy's the greatest thing that ever happened, well, then you're going to have a game like this, and the tree branch that you're too far out on is going to snap out from under you. And then the haters are going to be sitting there waiting for you on the ground to pounce. And that's what's going to happen tonight. And that's the way it goes. I mean, that's the way sports is, or anything else where you root for somebody to win. And, other people are rooting for that person to fail. Jeremy will get beyond this. He will get to a point where he'll be consistent. And there won't be as many outings for the haters to pounce on. But while he's still young and learning how to play point guard, there's going to be a lot of this. So you just need to know that. That's why you never want to, don't put yourself in a position where the haters can beat you. That's the easiest way I can say it. Jeremy's going to learn a lot from this game. In fact, this game might be the game that he learns the most from this whole season. Just because of what happened for him and how up and down he was. A lot of what happened in this game, and I say this all the time, the point guard controls the action in general for the offense and for the team. So if your point guard's off, your offense is off. And that happened a lot tonight, and it was all under Jeremy's control. When he played the first quarter, and he played so well, everything went great. But then when he started slipping into some bad stuff in the second and fourth, then it didn't go well, and the whole team went downhill. That's the reason why McHale will bench him, because he's running everything. And if he's not running it right, everything falls apart. And as I said, that's a special responsibility for the point guard that no other position has. And it's sometimes why you'll see Harden run point guard, because he trusts himself more than he trusts Jeremy. Which, look, there's ups and downs to that, but I get it. As I said, James Harden is a better player than Jeremy, even though he's not a better point guard than Jeremy. It's just a thing of, look, I want to win. And Jeremy's still young, and, I trust myself more with the ball than I trust Jeremy with it. It's the same like Kobe saying, I want to shoot. I'm not giving the ball to Dwight Howard to shoot because I trust myself more. And I understand that. Look, James Harden played great in this game. He rescued the Rockets several times in this game. And that's why the team and the coaches trust him more. He's better than Jeremy. Will he always be better than Jeremy? I don't know. Probably, because his talent level is a little higher. But it won't. Jeremy will catch up a lot. It's just going to take time. Dragic does now join the revenge tour list for Jeremy, which I think now is only him and Drew Holiday of the Sixers. I believe that's it. So look, if Jeremy's going through the entire NBA and there's only 2 revenge tour people, great. His first year as a full-time starter, I have no problems with that. And Jeremy's going to have a very soon opportunity to be able to get revenge, because the next game is against Phoenix. It's just like the Dallas, those 2 games. I said that's a home-and-home series. Same thing here. Played at Phoenix's home. Next game is playing Phoenix at Houston's home. Okay, let's get to quarter by quarter. I have a lot more stuff in there, specific stuff about Jeremy. Early in the first, Jeremy had a nice pass to Demo for a little left-handed jump hook type of shot in the lane. That was great. Jeremy had a one dribble jump shot from the top of the key. Just he caught the ball, took one dribble to get his feet set, and he hit a nice little jumper early in the first from the top of the key, which, as I mentioned before, is where the free throw line is, and then that semicircle that goes on top of the free throw line, that's the top of the key. Also early in the first, Jeremy had an excellent steal. Phoenix was in their offense in the front court on their side where the basket is, and Jeremy got a little steal right along the baseline. He intercepted a pass, I believe. However, right after he intercepted the pass, I think he threw a turnover himself. Like he threw a bad pass after he caught Phoenix's bad pass. So that kind of negated itself there. Also, early in the first, Jeremy kept the ball alive. Sometimes when a man can't get a rebound himself, you will see him tap the ball out, like away from the basket, kind of like a volleyball, like hitting the ball. Jeremy had a play like that where he tapped the ball back and it kept the ball alive, and Houston got the rebound. So that was a very nice play. When I was watching this game at this time, I was watching the Phoenix broadcast of it, and their analyst is a man named, I think it's Ernie Johnson. Now I'm thinking of the TNT guy. Yeah, I think it's Eddie Johnson, excuse me. Eddie Johnson, who played for the Suns and was a phenomenal shooter. Well, right at this time in the game, he put up like his keys to the game so that Phoenix could win. And the second one was pressure Jeremy Lin. So as we've talked about, teams' game plan for Lin, they know it's like, you cut the head off a snake, you take the whole snake out. That's the way teams look at Jeremy. You slow down Jeremy and slow down Harden, Houston's not going to beat you. So that comes back to what I said earlier, which is point guard controls everything. So if the point guard's not getting it done, the team's not going to get it done. And the special responsibility that goes along with being a point guard. Houston was making earlier substitutions than normal in this game. You saw guys coming in around 6 or 7 minute mark. Yeah, Greg Smith and Thomas Robinson came in. And the reason why they do that is because it was a back-to-back game. So guys are going to be more tired. And so coaches know they need to substitute a little bit more so that guys aren't too worn down. And also, I believe that was the first time that Thomas Robinson and Greg Smith played at the same time. And we've talked about Coach McHale's experimenting with different lineups to see what works. He's got some new guys, and he's got to figure out how they're going to work together. So that's what was going on there. Okay, middle of the first, Jeremy played very nice defense on Dragic, and he forced him to shoot just a crazy brick that didn't even hit the rim. It just bounced off the backboard and didn't even come close. And that was because of Jeremy's defense. Also, middle of the first, Jeremy had a tremendous drive, draw, and dish play. Again, beat your man. You draw another defender who has to come off of somebody else on your team on offense. That man's open. You pass to him, and he gets an easy shot. That Jeremy beat his guy, Dragic, I believe. I can't remember who was playing center for them. The center came off of Greg Smith. Greg Smith wide open. Jeremy passed to him for a super dunk. Just a great play. I can't remember exactly when that happened, but that was the middle of the first. So sometime, I don't know, maybe the 5 or 6 minute mark if you look at it in the highlights. Middle of the first as well, Jeremy had a nice pass to James Harden for a 3-point shot from 20 degrees right of the top of the arc. That came with 4 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first quarter. Finally, Jeremy, late in the first, it was an inbounds play. So you're throwing the ball went out of bounds, and now your team is throwing the ball in. And this was on Houston's side of the court, and their offense, their basket. Jeremy cut down the middle of the lane, took the inbounds pass, and got a nice little layup attempt off of it. He didn't make it, but it was fouled, and he shot 2 free throws and hit both of them. It was an excellent play, like it was designed well. And again, this is Jeremy playing well without the ball. Make cuts and movement so that you can get the ball and score with it, and that's what he did really well there. And with 2:58 left in the first quarter, and Houston was leading 22-16, Patrick Beverley came in for Jeremy. As I said, Jeremy was doing great. The first quarter was the best quarter he had all night by 4. I think his efficiency number was 7 in that quarter, which ended up being his total efficiency number, which gives you a sense of how well he did then and how so-so he did the rest of the game. Okay, Jeremy began the second quarter on the bench, which is normal. McHale will bring in Beverley, then let him play end of the first, starting into the second. I just made a note here. Jeremy had a very tough second quarter. Yeah, he's still young. He still needs work. And you can see why McHale doesn't trust him completely. And I'll get to some of the specifics of that as I keep going through here. But that's just kind of a summary note I made after the game. Jeremy came back into the game with 7 minutes and 7 seconds left in the second quarter. The game was tied at 35 apiece at that time. Patrick Beverley wasn't playing that well when Jeremy came back in for him. And to be honest with you, neither of the point guards for Houston played that great tonight. Beverley, in my opinion, was looking for his own shot too much when he was in. He wasn't running the offense. He was trying to do a little bit too much. And that's the same thing that Jeremy got into when he came in the second quarter. He had a couple of quick turnovers. So we've talked about this early in the year, what we'll call a turnover bundle. He got a quick turnover after coming back in where he was out on the break on the right-hand side of the court, and he just tried to throw the ball ahead to a streaking man, but it just was the pass wasn't quite high enough, and it was intercepted by Phoenix. And I made a note there, slow down. In other words, he's getting a little ahead of himself. It's good to push the pace, but you can't push the pace so much that you make mistakes. And then soon after that, Jeremy had, this is what I warned about yesterday. He made one of those mistakes where you jump to pass, and then you have nobody to pass to. And that's what happened. I can't remember what happened on the play exactly, but it was definitely a jump to pass turnover. And these happen pretty quickly. And I can't remember what game it was. In one of the last several games, Jeremy had a quick 2-turnover bundle. That's the first time I can remember him doing that for a long time. So it's about how you play. In other words, Jeremy, he showed in the first quarter how good he can be. But then the second quarter is, oh, yeah, he can do this too. And that's what scares Kevin McHale. And that's why McHale and the other guys are trying to slow down the hype a little bit and stuff where, look, you still need to play the right way. Everybody does. LeBron James is having a ridiculous statistical season. A lot of the reason why is because he stopped taking bad shots. Now, if LeBron went out tomorrow against the Indiana Pacers and started shooting up bad shots, guess what? His numbers are going to suck. So you always have to play the right way. And if you get away from that, you will struggle. And as I mentioned, similar to LeBron, who often plays point guard for Miami, it all comes down to the point guard. If Jeremy struggles, the whole team struggles. And that's a big part of why I think McHale is harder on him, because of the extra responsibility. He's trying to get him into that mindset. Look, McHale played with Larry Bird, and I can't remember. I honestly don't remember if McHale was on the team when Bird joined it. Bird came to the Celtics in 79, 80. I don't remember if McHale was on the team then. He might not have been, actually. But I can tell you this. Bird came into the league pretty much ready for the league. So did Magic. And those two are very rare exceptions. And that's why they're both, in my opinion, top 5 all-time players. So when Bird came in, McHale was already a player. McHale was already in the league. And here's this young guy telling him, you got to do all this. You're not doing it right. Bird was the leader of the team. And a lot of the veterans on the team on the Celtics, they weren't really thrilled. They didn't believe in Bird. When Bird showed them, he was right. So McHale knows that young players can play well because he saw it with Larry Bird. So I think that's, again, part of why he's hard on Jeremy. Yeah, he's young, but I'm going to teach him the right way because I've seen guys do it. And, McHale also played with Dennis Johnson, who was a terrific point guard and really controlled the game well. So, like I said, tonight is, you can see what the flaws are with Jeremy, but you can also see how great he is. And that's what makes it frustrating, because up, down, up and down, up and down. But the good part is there's no question Jeremy can play. There's no question he's better than Patrick Beverley and better than a whole bunch of other players. He's a starter. He has starter-level talent. It's just a matter of how quickly can he discipline himself to play properly over and over again. Because tonight he got away from it. He was partway good and partway bad. And it cost the team. I'm going to tell you right now, it cost the team. It might have cost the team the win. Absolutely. I could see it. I could feel it in the way the flow was. And that's part of being a leader. It's part of being a star, which I've said before, Jeremy absolutely has the ability to be a star. He does. But along with that comes responsibility. If you're going to get the high fives and the approval and the applause, well, then you're going to have to take the boos too when you don't do it. It's like LeBron when he went to the finals. Well, I didn't play well. Yeah, and everybody's going to let you know about it. That's right. And it's tough, but that's part of being a star. And that's why I said I think Jeremy will learn a lot from this, as much as any other game. Okay, back to the game. Phoenix went up 42-35 with 5 minutes and 24 seconds left in the second quarter. Houston took a timeout there. Houston, their offense and their defense was scattered, and a lot of it was because Jeremy wasn't playing well. If you get a turnover, guess what? The other team's out on the fast break, and they're going to score. Maybe you're going to foul them too. So it's not just your offense that gets hurt, it's your defense that gets hurt. And that's, again, it goes back to the point guard. He's the person that is controlling the action. People always say, like John Stockton, who's some consider him the greatest point guard ever played, at least a pure point guard. Well, he didn't score much. He only scored 13 points a game. He didn't do anything. No, he did everything because he controlled everything. And that's why I said Linsanity 2.0 doesn't have to be 25 points a night. It can be 13 points, 10 assists, a couple rebounds. If you control the game, that is one of the most important aspects of winning. As again, it's all about winning. It's not about stats. And that's what Mikheyev was saying in that stupid quote to the New York Daily News. Jeremy wants 9 points and 9 turnovers. And I say, we're trying to win. That's right. It's about winning. It's about winning. Every person that plays in the NBA, no matter how good they are or what their stats are, comes to understand at some point that if you don't win, nobody cares what your stats are. You're going to be considered a loser. So, and again, Jeremy's learning all this. He's 24 years old. He's rich now. He's not on the couch like last year. He's a global icon. He's learning it. He'll learn it. He's learning it. And tonight, like I said, tonight, failure is the best teacher. And tonight was a lot of failure. So he'll learn from that. Now, I made a note here in the middle of the second quarter, and it says, this is why Houston got Aaron Brooks for nights like this. Why do we need Aaron Brooks? Because this was a night when Beverly and Jeremy were struggling in the second quarter. That's why you have somebody like Aaron Brooks. He's older and more experienced than both of those guys. You will have nights where neither of the two guys is going to play well. Jeremy had plenty of good moments in this game, but the second quarter wasn't part of that. And that's why you have somebody like Aaron Brooks to come in so you don't lose the lead. And that's why they got him, and I'm glad that they got him. And I'll tell you this, Mikheyev would have played Brooks tonight, except he doesn't think Brooks knows the offense well enough yet. I saw a quote about that like before the game where Mikheyev was talking that Brooks doesn't understand their system well enough yet, or I'm sure he would have put him in this game. Okay, Jeremy missed a catch-and-shoot 3 from 15 degrees to the right of center, middle of the second quarter, and I made the note that he's rushing now. He was thinking a little too much and pressing a little too much, trying a little bit too hard to do too much, instead of doing what he was doing in the first quarter. Let the game flow, get your other guys around. And he started going more into a scorer mentality, and was just kind of forcing things too much. And as I mentioned, this often happens in a trap game. You think it's going to be easy. You don't think you have to play your best to win. And that's when guys will kind of break their good habits and just kind of put up shots they wouldn't put up in close games and stuff. And that's what Jeremy and the whole team started doing, and it caught up with them. Phoenix found their groove in this game. We talked about during the Orlando and the Washington and Milwaukee games that the other team had a good groove. Phoenix did not start this game that way, but in the middle of the second quarter, they found their groove, and then you knew it was going to be a tough game. And there was a whole bunch going on here in the middle of the second between J.T. Tucker for the Suns, I believe number 17, and James Harden. And we talk about this sometimes, how there's game within the game, or there's little matchups. Tucker started going at Harden, started messing with Harden a little bit, tried to go at him and kind of hound him on defense. And Phoenix was up 11 points at this point. It was 2 minutes and 27 seconds left in the second. So Tucker made a mistake. He made a mistake of, tugging on Superman's cape. Is the expression that would say in English. If you're winning, don't mess with James Harden, because James Harden can burn you, and that's exactly what he did. Then James Harden started just tearing up JT Tucker, just started rolling him. Pretty soon, JT Tucker had 4 personal fouls, and the game was almost tied. So it's like that was a big mistake. You have to, it's like what I said about being a fan. Don't get too far out on the branch until Jeremy's ready. JT Tucker got too far out on the branch with James Harden, and James Harden started to torch him. And I think Harden finished the game at like 35 points or something. And that's a great thing about James Harden. Just like Jeremy's very competitive. As I've said, all of these guys are competitive. All of them. Almost all of them. And you could see this playing out if you were looking. You could see it. You could see that it was coming, and you could see that Tucker was trying to mess with Harden, and Harden was mad. And it really hurt Phoenix, and that was a big mistake. Phoenix was going with Kendall Marshall, who was their backup point guard at this point in the game, middle of the second, late in the second, to try to go at Jeremy. The reason why they were doing that is because Jeremy was just torching Goran Dragic. Dragic couldn't do anything against him. He couldn't stop him. He couldn't beat him on defense. Again, up and down. He was doing so great, and in the fourth quarter, he couldn't do anything against Dragic. And that's why it's a frustrating game, this particular game. Marshall's 6'4", so he's a little bit bigger than Jeremy, and he's a little smoother than Dragic, a little more athletic. I don't say athletic, but just a little smoother in his movement. It works a little bit better against Jeremy. Dragic just couldn't do anything. Late in the second, Harden was running point guard. I think he was a little bit unsatisfied with how Jeremy was playing, and I think, he wanted to control the ball because he wanted to go at JT Tucker, and that's what he did. Jeremy took a long, 5 feet behind the line, 3-point attempt, catch and shoot from 30 degrees left of the top of the arc late in the second, and it just wasn't a good shot. As I said, Jeremy was forcing at this time. This is, again, what Mikhail said. He just wants numbers. He wants to have fun. That's what this was. This was not – it wasn't good offense, and that was a mistake by Jeremy. At halftime, the game was 50-46, and most of that comeback was because of James Harden, and that was big. I made a note here. It says, young players want things to be easy and fun. Right. You're playing against a bad team without one of its best players. This is a game you're going to get your numbers and have some fun. Well, it doesn't always work that way, and it didn't work that way tonight. Again, if you're the point guard, you can't do that. You can't afford to do it because then everybody on the team is going downhill with you. And again, this is why Mikhail still, quote unquote, doubts Jeremy Lin, just because he's inconsistent. But and again, it wasn't just Jeremy tonight. It was Patrick Beverley and a couple other guys that did the exact same thing. It's the only reason Jeremy's more magnified is because he's the point guard. If Jeremy turns the ball over, and it's turnover. If et cetera, et cetera. So, Jeremy's efficiency. I said his efficiency for the first quarter was 7. Well, his efficiency for the second quarter was -5, and that just shows you. That's good Jeremy versus bad Jeremy. Same player, same talent level, but you have to play within your skill set and your athletic ability. Don't try to do things you can't do. If you can't jump or have the speed of Russell Westbrook, don't try to make a move that Westbrook can do and you can't do. If you can't shoot really well, you're having a bad shooting night, don't try to start jacking up shots you can't hit. Jeremy has an issue with that. There are times when Jeremy tries to do more than what his talent will let him do at this point in time. Now, his skill set can change, and it will change. But in between now and then, don't try to do stuff you can't do. And as I said, he got a little bit ahead of himself tonight, and it hurt him and it hurt the team. Okay, Jeremy started the third quarter. He actually shot an air ball, catch and shoot three-pointer from 20 degrees right of center. And I made a note then, it says he's too geeked up, with an expletive that I will not add to that conversation. Too bleeping geeked up. Geeked up means he's too amped up. He's too excited. He's too pumped up. And that can, if you're a performer of anything, if you're performing on a test in school, if you're performing a piano recital, if you're performing in a basketball game, there's a optimum level of nervousness and tension that'll get you the right performance. If you go beyond that level, then you can do things like miss three-pointers with air balls or hit the wrong notes while you're playing your piano recital. Jeremy was too anxious then. And he just, as I said, he got away from what he was doing in the first quarter. And now he was just kind of in a little bit of a free-flowing funk. Although he did do well for the rest of the third quarter. He just needed to kind of calm down a little bit. I made another note here, though. I said, Jeremy is cocky, and that's good. That's good. I mean that in a good way. When you get somebody like Jeremy who's been dissed as many times as he has been dissed in a basketball sense, you better be cocky because you're the only one that thinks you can succeed. And that's a good thing. That's why I think Mikhail's not worried about him. The way that I tell you, I'm not worried about him when he doesn't do well because I know he's going to be competitive and come back and do well. I think Mikhail knows that. Jeremy believes in himself a lot, and that's good. Again, coming from his circumstance, you need to be that way. And he's resilient, and that's very, very important. And it's going to help him a lot become the player that he can become. And as I said, look, his ceiling as a player, his talent level is far above people like Patrick Beverley. And as I said, the haters and doubters, some of them just don't want to see what his talent level. They just don't want to accept it or believe it. Some of them actually, they just don't understand what they're seeing. Jeremy has a very high ceiling as a player, really high. He could be slightly more athletic in terms of jumping and power, but he's pretty athletic. He's got what he needs to have to be a very successful point guard with some shooting guard in there as well. He's got that. Now it's just a matter of refining it, like taking a stone and sculpting it into a painting or into a sculpture that has a shape and a form. That's what Jeremy has to do now. But the talent level is clearly there, and that's what's good. He's beyond the point now where you can't see the talent. Everybody's seen the talent. Now, foolish haters, just true, pure haters, still want to play the small sample size argument. Linsani 1.0 is small. Yeah, the Spurs this year. No. Anybody that can't see Jeremy's talent level now just doesn't understand basketball. I mean, it's clear what he can do when he's playing at his best. And when he's playing at his best and controlling things, there's a lot of players that can't do that. They cannot do that consistently, and he can. So he will have these setback nights, but he's too far down the road now to try to pretend like it's a small sample size, and that's good. I also made the note here, actually, Jeremy had a nice pass to Chandler for a top of the key, extended, like very top of the arc, 3-point shot early in the third. This is why Jeremy can be frustrating for a coach. You know what he can do, but he doesn't always do it right. Again, I mean, that's what young players do. So it's you can't be too upset with him. Just want to see him do well and get to his potential as quickly as he can. Early in the third, Jeremy had a very nice play where he caught the ball close to the left-hand 3-point corner mark, and he caught the ball, quickly beat his man off the dribble, and then beat, I believe, Luis Scola at the rim for a nice little layup. That was really nice. That was a very quick move by him. He anticipated it and made it very, very quickly. Jeremy, soon after that, almost had another turnover on a jump to pass move. I believe it bounced off a couple people, went out of bounds. So it was fortunate that wasn't a turnover. And I just made the note, just, slow down. You're going too quick. You're trying to force stuff too quick. You have to take what's there. You can't try to make things happen when it's not there. And again, he'll keep learning that. Phoenix began to trap Jeremy in the backcourt, meaning they had a man picking him up full court, defending him the whole way of the court, which doesn't happen all the time. And they had another man back there as well. So they were kind of mixing their defensive coverages up on Jeremy just to slow him down and therefore slow down Houston's offense. Houston started finding their groove in the middle of the third, which was good. They were, again, Harden helped them come back in the second, and Phoenix was still on a little bit of a roll, and Houston started getting on a roll. Middle of the third, Jeremy hit a catch-and-shoot 3 off of a James Harden pass from 25 degrees left of the top of the arc. And that's good. He wasn't shooting that well up to that point, but he was going to keep shooting, which is very important for a scorer. You can start out 1 for 10 and end up, 10 for 22, but you have to keep shooting. And he kept doing that, which was good. He was 1 for 4 in shooting at one point in this game. And he ended up 4 for 9, which is, it's like 45%. That's great. That's fine for a point guard. So, like I said, his confidence will keep him going, and that's really good. That 3-pointer by Jeremy made the score 60-57 for Phoenix. Soon thereafter, when Jeremy was playing defense, he got elbowed in the side of the head by Goran Dragic. Dragic was going up to shoot a shot, and Jeremy just kind of basically ran into him. And it was totally unintentional, but it kind of dazed Jeremy for a second. And soon after that, Patrick Beverley came in for Jeremy because Jeremy had like a bloody lip from that play. So this was like 6 minutes left in the third quarter, and it was 62-61 Houston, or so, around that score. Actually, no. Yeah, it was close to that. It wasn't quite that score. I mentioned this before. I'm not sure if Jeremy wears a mouth guard. Mouth guards can definitely help you sometimes with not getting bloody lips and bloody mouth. So if he keeps taking hits like this, it's something he might want to look into in the future if he's not already wearing a mouth guard. Late in the third, James Harden was taking over again and just dominating. I mean, he was doing phenomenal and keeping Houston in this game. And going into the fourth quarter, Houston was only down 1 point, 77-76. Jeremy started the fourth quarter on the bench, so McHale brought in Beverley because of the bloody lip, and he just kept him in for a bit. And it was a pretty close game. It was Jeremy came back into the game with about 8 minutes and 40 seconds left, and at that time, the score was 81-81. Soon thereafter, Jeremy had the ball. He waved off Chandler Parsons came up like he was going to Jeremy to give him the ball. And Jeremy kind of waved him off. Nobody else in the Rockets was moving. They were just all kind of watching. So Jeremy just drove basically to the free throw line and just hit a nice little jump shot. And it was great. That was very much a leader type of move. Like, hey, look, nobody's doing anything or moving or cutting. I'm just going to go do something. And he did. Soon after that, though, he drove to the middle of the lane, was looking for a layup, it looked like, but he was covered up on the shot. Like, it would have been blocked if he shot it, and did another one of the jump to passes, turnovers, and that was his 5th turnover of the game. So, and then soon after that, he missed a long 2-point shot off the dribble. So he was trying to score here. And I think he was just trying to give James Harden a break, because James Harden was really working hard, scoring most of the points for Houston. Nobody on the team was doing that much. So again, this isn't all Jeremy's fault, but he's the point guard. He has the ball in his hands, so it comes down to him. He must make good decisions, or nothing can work well or work right for the team. And he just wasn't playing well in the stretch. He really wasn't. Now the shots weren't falling for him, but if you're not hitting shots, and don't shoot them. Set up somebody else, do something else. And he wasn't doing a great job at that, in my opinion. Okay, late in the 4th, there was a timeout for Houston. They were down 8. I wasn't sure. I was thinking, well, Mikal might take Lin out, but he didn't. And that was good. Houston came back. The score was 93-92 Phoenix with 4 minutes left in this game. Again, Harden brought the team back again. It's probably the 3rd time in the game that he basically made his own comeback, essentially. Then Dragic just started tearing up Jeremy. He was beating him. He beat him. I think, got a screen set for him, hit a jump shot. Drove to the lane, hit a little layup on Jeremy, although I do think Dragic might have pushed off when he hit that shot. And then Houston was just falling apart on offense. It was like it was all starting to unravel. And a lot of this, again, was around Jeremy, whether it was Dragic beating him on offense or Jeremy just not quite figuring it out or directing traffic well on Houston's offense. So, and Dragic beat Jeremy on like 3 consecutive plays. And he was just rolling. And at the end of the game, Houston was doing that thing where you shoot a 3-pointer and then you foul the other team so you can try to catch up. They get 2 free throws, you hit a 3-pointer, so you kind of catch up bit by bit. It almost worked. But it just wasn't enough. And Patrick Beverley was put into this game with 11 seconds left just to kind of because Jeremy was about to foul out, basically. And they wanted a guy with more fouls in there so they could stop the game. But eventually, Houston just ran out of time. So, overall, this was it's a tough loss. It's a game that Houston didn't need to lose. I'm not stunned that they lost. Again, I'm not totally defeated or deflated that they lost, but it's an unfortunate loss in terms of trying to get the number 6 seed in the Western Conference playoffs. But as I mentioned, Jeremy will learn a lot from this game. He's going to learn a lot from this. As we say, when you lose, when you fail, that's when you are forced to adjust. And that's what's going to happen to Jeremy here. Now, I just looked really quickly, and Golden State did lose tonight. So, I said, if Houston had won, they're the number 6 seed right now. But at least the other teams lost. Utah lost. Golden State lost. Look, I will say this, though. If the Lakers keep winning, there's a chance the Lakers could get to 6. And Houston's going to want to beat them out. They might have to actually beat out the Lakers if these other teams are falling apart. Doesn't look like the Lakers are going to fall apart. That's why it's important to try to win games like tonight. But, again, it happened. It's over. The Lakers dropped a game in Phoenix recently as well, so it happens to other teams as well. Okay, it is 1:27 a.m. early Sunday, March 10th, I believe, in the United States, which means It is 2:27 p.m. on Sunday, March 10th in Taipei, Taiwan. As I said, I'm not going to do comments in this video. I'll keep working on a comments video, and I'll come into the comments and try to answer as many as I can. The next game coming up, as I mentioned, is another game against the Phoenix Suns. That will take place Wednesday, March 13th at 8 p.m. on the eastern coast of the United States, which means it'll be early Thursday, March 14th, 9 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan. It's very clear. Houston's got to win that game, and they're going to be looking for revenge, and Jeremy's going to be looking for revenge. So I expect Houston to win that game, and I expect Jeremy to do well. And it'll be the Rockets will have a couple days of practice. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, they have 3 days of practice, which is great. They can get Aaron Brooks up to speed, get a little rest, get Harden some rest for his knee, get Jeremy a little rest off his ankle, and they should be in good shape. Look, overall, we're in a great spot to make the playoffs, and that's the key. So let's see what the next couple days bring, and hopefully we'll get ready for that Wednesday game and be looking for a little bit of payback. Okay, your comments below, thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. We will include full information in the video description below the video player. You can look at video highlights, read game stories, and look at the box score from tonight's game. Also information so you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group, which has over 2,000 members and counting. I am the NBA expert, Paulette Villarreal. Thanks for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Again, it's too bad that they lost this game, but it will help them to learn and grow, including Jeremy. I hope all you guys are having a great day or great night wherever you are around the world when you watch this. Take care. We will talk to you again soon, and I will keep working on the comments video.